What's going on, Master Duel fans? James here again. Today, throughout the whole entire Duelist Cup showcasing, it's going to be a unique profile of Dinomorphias this time around. And all I can say is that throughout my hardest work I've been proud of with Dinomorphia, all I can say is the deck has the ability to function the way it's supposed to be. So as you guys saw from this list, I made two separate lists, but I said to myself, you know what? I'll just make up an alternative changes list as we go on out and about. So this list in particular, I remember what the changes were as we go on about this list. So before we get things started, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. You guys know the good stuff. So, and I'll let you guys know what were the changes and updates as we progressed about this. 3 Dinomorphia Theresia, 3 Dinomorphia Diplos, the basic stuff. Just max out on those. And then 1 each of the monster hand traps, Ogre, Ash, and Ghost Bell. Ogre was seen like half of the time. Ash came up the majority of the Duelist Cup, and then Bell came up the majority of the Duelist Cup as well. And then 2 Dimension Shifters and Dinomorphia. There is a secret trick that you can play under the D shifter with the 2 Dinomorphia monsters in the graveyard, for that matter. And then I'll let you guys know on the explanation after. And then for the spell lineup, of course I made some changes and updates at the time this happens about the spell lineup. So for the spells, Pot of Duality, Pot of Prosperity, 1 each. It's limited on Master Duel, of course. The 1 Lightning Storm, it's back row heavy decks. You got face down traps that you normally control, of course. 1 copy of Tactics Talent. Talents is nice. And then Lightning Storm, the 1 of the card is also nice. Comes up more often, doesn't come up more often. And then Talents, on the other hand, Talents is to put people on pressure, like no tomorrow. The 1 Book of Moon, the people who I talked to the other day from one of my different group chats about the Book of Moon tech, it's basically a compensating way of stopping your opponents from doing some linking or synchro shenanigans or any other extra deck types that's not fusion, because they can still use whatever as material. But the Book of Moon tech is mainly for going to your extra deck that's not fusions. And then the Book of Moon, in terms of offensive and defensive usage, Book of Moon actually comes up a lot, to be quite honest. And then the 1 Call By is absolutely nice. And then the level 7 through 16 version for the spell lineup, levels 7 through 16 deck list, it was 2 Forbidden Chalice and 1 Cosmic Cyclone. At the early stages, it's basically where the Cosmic Cyclone, it's basically for Runics, to be specific, because Fountain is at 1. And then 2 Forbidden Chalice. There was a play involving the Dinomorphia fusion, I believe it was Kendra, where at the early stages of the game, It's basically where the moment she starts out at 0, if you use Forbidden Chalice on that Kentrigina, she'll be the swollest of the swole, as in 4,400 attack until the end of the turn. All thanks to Forbidden Chalice. So, levels 7 through 16 were the 2 Forbidden Chalice and the 1 Cosmic Cyclone. And then as we reached level 17 through 19, the 2 Forbidden Chalices and the 1 Cosmic Cyclone, these were 3 Fossil Digs. Now that I have enough of the rarity chips at the time this happens, I was able to replace the Chalices and the Cosmic for the sake of the Fossil Digs, so that way we have access to Theresia and Diplos a lot faster. And then the traps, 3 Ferret Flames. If the combined attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls is higher than your life points, make your opponent shuffle face-up monsters they control into the deck their choice, except those that has no attack, so that the combined attack of the remaining monsters they control become less than or equal to your life points. So generally the idea is you have to make your life points go really low as much as you can, just so that your Ferret Flames will become automatically live. And what's even more insane about Ferret Flames is that the keywords in the text make your opponent. So that means if they have something that's unaffected, whether if it's the Blackwing Towers, Adagnister Towers, or even something like Trap Trick Sarah, Trap Trick Sarah actually goes back because it doesn't affect it at all when it's affecting the player and not the monster, which is absolutely nuts. And then 3 Infinite Impermanence, 3 Dinomorphia Domain, 3 Dinomorphia Frenzy. These are the Dinomorphia traps that they should be ashing these, because if they ash either the Domain or Frenzy, it's basically your, aka the opponent's view, are in a winning spot. So to ensure that hand traps will not be happening and or board breakers, you have Intat to play through Ash and Sonic to play through board breakers that's not Super Poly, which is absolutely insane. And then 2 Brutes and 2 Alerts. Alert is your Call of the Haunted, and the turn you do this, 40 alert, you can only special summon Dinomorphia for the rest of the turn, and you cannot declare an attack with them. And then the 2 Brutes, that is your spot removal, because if they have floodgates where you can't play the game, Brute is the crucial key piece so that you are able to play the game again. And then Solemn Judgment, Solemn Strike. In the level 7 through 16 version, it used to be 1 Judgment and 1 Strike, but the problem was Strike never came up at all as much, to be honest, because the Dinomorphia traps obviously tried to make it lowest of the low as much as I can. By the time I got to like less than 1500 at the very least, Strike became a dead card. So I pretty much swapped the Strike for a second copy of Solemn Judgment. And that second copy of Solemn Judgment definitely came up, which is nice. And then the extra deck, that would be... three each of the Dinomorphia fusions, Kentragina, Stealthbergia, Rexterm, basic up to 3. You could just pretty much play at least a minimum of 2 Stealthbergia, but at the same time I figured since I don't have enough extra deck space, it's usually all 3 ofs for all 3 Dinomorphias. And then Lagia, Dolka, these were added in prior of levels 17 through 19 matchups, and both Dolka and Lagia are absolutely insane. Lagia is your walking solemn judgment, and then Dolka is the monster negator not once. Wee Witch, you're playing Darks, and then Dark came up 1 time so many, stealing Dia Bell stars throughout the whole course of the meta. And then what's even cooler about this Dinomorphia deck, in the final words of conclusion, is that the pro tip on how you can play through Shifter and Domain or Frenzy, it's basically where, if you guys saw the video footage on how I can play through Shifter while my opponent cannot, it's basically where the moment they have something in terms of sending cards to the graveyard in any shape or form, I could just go Dimension Shifter, Chain, Domain, or Frenzy, just so that your 2 Dinomorphia monsters are in the graveyard while your Frenzy or Domain ends up getting banished because of Shifter. Like, yes, you lose your main key pieces in terms of canceling out the effect damage or the destruction effects from Diplos and Theresia because of Shifter, but at the same time, it's basically where if any of your fusions are killed after the Shifter, Chain, Domain, or Frenzy, you could just have either Theresia or Diplos being brought back, but your best bet is being Theresia, because if you are in the middle of Shifter, your best bet is Theresia because she straight up sets something from the deck which avoids being shifted at all costs. And any changes to make out of any of the 2 lists, honestly, I felt like I was actually glad that I had to make up some changes throughout the course of the meta, and all I can say is that this fixed list puts in a lot of work. And with that being said, this is James Polk on this unique Dinomorphia deck profile. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and if you haven't already, smash the notification bell to keep yourself constantly updated, and we'll catch you guys in the next event.